I recently had the chance to roll into another world, one filled with hobbit holes, medieval feasts, and swordplay, right here in Alberta, Canada. The best part, it was completely wheelchair friendly. Good Nights in Three Hills is a fantasy themed resort unlike anything I've ever seen. At the resort, you'll find 3 unique places to stay, including the Burrows, a charming Hobbit inspired space built into a hillside, the Hideaway, where you can get cozy with your family in covered wagons, and finally, the Encampment, which is a medieval inspired village. But Good Nights isn't just a cool place to stay. It is an immersive experience complete with costumes, sword fighting lessons, leather crafting, archery, and a medieval feast fit for a king. I was invited to come and check out this wheelchair friendly resort, and I'm excited to take you along on the adventure. So grab your goblet, polish your armor, and let's get started. The first night we stayed in the Burrow, which is a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom Hobbit-inspired suite that sleeps up to 4 people. We got there late in the evening, just in time to take a quick tour of each room, catch a beautiful sunset, and play some games before heading to bed. I wanted to spend some time in the space before doing my accessibility audit, which I was going to leave for the morning. Parking is over here, which is a bit of a trek from the actual event space where the tents and the Hobbit Burrow is. So if you come by yourself in a wheelchair, you're definitely going to need a little bit of help getting over there, but there is plenty of help available. The owners are really nice and they will come and bring a wagon to help you with your bags and all of that stuff. There is gravel, as you can see, me wheeling on it for a little ways, to get up to the actual gates where the event space is, so you'll have to wheel on that, but it's pretty packed down and easy enough to wheel on. I was actually allowed to park way over there by the fence, so if you come and you're in a wheelchair, I'm assuming that you'll be able to park over there too. So I parked right by the gate so I didn't have to wheel on all the gravel, which I'm sure you will be able to too. No technically wheelchair, accessible parking or anything, but they make it work and they give you lots of help, so you should be fine if you come. The Hobbit Burrow is built into the side of a hill, so there's no surprise that you have to wheel up a hill in order to actually get there. It was a bit of a challenge to go up, not because the slope was really that steep, but because it was a little bit rough. And if anybody knows, when you wheel up a hill that is rough in a wheelchair, you're fighting the incline as well as all the bumps and stuff that want to stop you. And so it just was a little bit hard to get up there. But once I got onto this gravel path, then it was smooth sailing all the way to the front door, which has a 36-inch wide base to accommodate most wheelchairs. The base of the door being so big made the circle that the door is also very big. So just keep in mind that the door isn't super light because it's very big and made of wood. So you may need some help opening it. You can see that there's an actual wheel at the bottom that supports the weight of the door because it's so heavy. So just keep in mind that it's not going to be super easy to open and close if you're there all by yourself and you may need some help. It has a definite 5-foot turning radius, which is big enough for anybody with a power wheelchair, any wheelchair. The sink is not a wheel under sink, but it is low enough to be able to use just by wheeling up beside it. The mirror is low enough for me to see myself in, even though you can't really see that I can see myself in it here, but I can see my whole face in it. And just in case I wasn't able to see, they brought a mirror that I would be able to look in if I couldn't see in that mirror. The shower is roll-in with a handheld shower head and a grab bar. There is no L grab bar over here, but I think that if you placed your shower chair here, you could still use this grab bar over here. There is a shower chair that they have for guests in here. If you would like to request that, they can set it up for you. It does not have arms on it, but it is a seat with a back, so I think most people can use that as long as you have pretty stable balance. The toilet is a higher toilet, which is easier to transfer onto. It's wheelchair height, and they do not have a grab bar, but they do have these toilet arm things that are removable if you don't need them. I don't actually need them, so I removed them, but they're here if you need them, and they're pretty sturdy. I mean, they're toilet arms just like any other toilet arm that you would see, but they'll definitely help you transfer if you need assistance. Overall, the bathroom is the most accessible part of this entire Hobbit burrow. There was a lot of thought put into making this a big enough space and a functional enough space that people could, you know, do their personal care in a place that is not normally wheelchair accessible. So I think they did a great job keeping the style and aesthetic original to what like a Hobbit burrow would be like, but also making sure that it's usable for somebody in a wheelchair. So 5 out of 5 for this bathroom. It is a pretty big space. I mean, there's enough space for me to turn around decently. I think there would be enough space for somebody in a power chair. The fridge is reachable, it's nice and low, and I could get anything in and out of the fridge that I needed. There are some dishes down here that are easy to reach. I was easily able to wheel under the table. I don't know if everybody would be able to wheel under the table depending on how high their wheelchair is, but I was able to wheel under the table. All I had to do was move the chair, so that's good. There is a microwave down here that is easy to access from a wheelchair. The sink is in the corner and I was able to wheel under it. Here's the garbage. The garbage is right here. So if you move the garbage, you'd be able to wheel under the sink and use it. Again, depending on how big your wheelchair is, will obviously determine whether you can wheel under the actual sink. There are pots and pans down here for cooking. There is an induction stove right here that I was able to reach easily. There is a kettle and a coffee pot. The kettle was actually up here when we first came, but Jamie moved it down for me so that I could reach it. And there is a toaster oven inside this antique oven that you can use also that's easy to reach from a wheelchair. The cups and stuff are up on a shelf, but I am able to reach them easily and I'm pretty short in a wheelchair. So I think anybody that has decent height would be able to reach the cups. There's salt and pepper, dish soap, sugar, all kinds of things that, you know, are little added touches that make it annoying to have to bring food to somewhere that doesn't have that kind of stuff. So you don't have to worry about bringing salt and pepper and sugar for your coffee and stuff like that, so that's really nice. There's knives for cutting and stuff down here. There is a toaster that's easy to reach down here. So basically anything that you would need from a sitting position is easy to reach in this kitchen, and it's decently big enough to wheel around in. So overall accessibility, I would give this kitchen a 4 out of 5. Okay, the bedroom. The door width is massive, so no issues there with getting a wheelchair inside. Same with the bathroom, I forgot to mention. The door width is really good in the bathroom, but the bedroom is a little bit small in terms of space for a wheelchair just because the bed is placed right in the middle. So I have just enough room to get over on the side of the bed, and my wheelchair is pretty narrow, so anybody with a big wheelchair might have an issue, but they did say that if space is an issue, they're happy to remove one of the nightstands and move the bed all the way over, which I think would make it plenty wide enough for any wheelchair. So if you are planning on coming here and you know that your wheelchair is a bigger wheelchair and you're concerned about the space, then just give them a heads up and they will modify the space in order to make it work for you, because wheelchair accessibility is a priority for them. One of the owners is a full-time wheelchair user, so they're happy to accommodate to make the space wheelchair friendly for whoever wants to come here. The bed is about 8 inches higher than my actual wheelchair, but that's no problem for me. If it is a problem for you in terms of transferring, then you might need help to get onto the bed. And if you can't access this bed because of the height, then there is a pull-out bed in the living room, which I will show you in one sec. Okay, last space in the Hobbit burrow is the living room, which is giant. You can wheel in here. The chairs are easily able to be accessed with a wheelchair, unless this bed is pulled out, in which case then the living room is entirely taken up with the bed. But as is, with it just being a living room, it is very, very accessible. So I would give this, just as a living room, a 5 out of 5 for accessibility. Other than not being able to reach the games that easily, there's some games over in the corner, and I can't get my wheelchair in there, so it might be difficult to reach the games and the books, but they did provide a reacher. So they are accessible via reacher if you have good hand dexterity and can use the reacher. So that shouldn't be an issue for anybody like me who is a paraplegic or has full use of their hands. But anybody that, you know, can't use a reacher might not be able to get to those games, in which case you'll need some help. This is another bed, like I was saying. If you can't access the other bed in the main bedroom, this bed does pull out, and this side of the bed, once it's pulled out, would be easy to access with your wheelchair. The only thing with this bed is it is a little bit lower than what a wheelchair would be, so you might have to transfer down about 6 inches, which means you have to transfer up out of bed about 6 inches. So either bed, if you're not very proficient at transfers, you may need help getting in and out of. But overall, I think they did a really good job of making the Hobbit Burrow as aesthetically consistent as possible with what it would be like in, you know, the movie, without changing it entirely to make it very institutional, which a lot of accessibility things are, right? So overall, I think that the accessibility is about a 4 out of 5 for this Hobbit Burrow. And yeah, there's not very many places that you can go to that look like they are, you know, authentic and genuine to the theme, and also accessible. So great job to Goodnights for doing such a, you know, wonderful job of making accessibility a priority while also staying really consistent with the theme. So yeah, that is the tour and my sort of take on the Hobbit Burrow. We are headed to the medieval encampment next. But before we do that, I'm going to go outside so you can see what you can expect in terms of accessibility outside. So we'll go do that now. If anybody plays an instrument, they have this cute little guitar here that is like adorable. It's got like a heart thingy here. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I held my head and I cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. Cute, super cute. Yeah, so lots of things to do here. Okay, let's talk about overall accessibility outside. Obviously, we are on like an acreage. We're in the country. So it's not, you know, manicured lawns and paved everything. The ground is, you know, a little bit rough, but it's easy to wheel on once you're on the grass. There is a hot tub over here, which is not accessible. The actual hot tub isn't accessible, and I'll show you the pavers that you can wheel on. Ugh. So it's doable in a wheelchair to get over here. It's kind of like cobblestone, except a little bit worse because, you know, they're actual stones. Obviously this isn't accessible, but I was able to get out here with Jamie and just hang out while she went into the hot tub, and it's nice that you can sort of access at least the area that the hot tub is in. After checking out of the Hobbit Burrow, we headed down the hill and around the corner to the Encampment, which is the medieval-inspired village with close to a dozen different tents available to rent. The tents are all built on raised decks, and most of them are outfitted with ramps to provide wheelchair access. Each tent has its own bathroom, so there is no need to worry about waiting for access or sharing with other guests, and there is a communal kitchen with everything you need to cook a full meal. When we arrived at the village, we decided to take a look around and to get acquainted and then do an accessibility audit of our tent and the other spaces in the village. Okay, so most of the actual tents, except for I think one, have ramps. This is a metal one, but most of them have wooden ramps. They just replaced the wooden one because it was, you know, kind of old before I came. So most of them have ramps, and then they're all flat inside. Very big inside. There is a pole, obviously, in the middle to hold the tent up. So this side of the bed is a little blocked at this area, but transferring is decent. And the height of the bed is maybe 2 inches below my wheelchair. So simple enough transfer. And then getting back up is a little bit of a height transfer, but not terrible. So that's good. There is a lovely electric fireplace for if you get cold, but it seems pretty warm in here right now. Might even be really hot when I'm sleeping tonight, so we'll see. There is electricity in here. There is a plug-in down there, so you can plug in your phone. There's a fan if you get hot. There's a lamp, I think. Yeah, there's a little lamp there. And then this part is tricky because the carabiners actually holding the tent down are clipped. And there's just a pretty skinny area to get to the bathroom. But I do believe that one could be unclipped if necessary in order to be able to get to the bathroom easier. But I can get in this little space just fine. But my wheelchair just fits. So if you're coming, you may have to ask them to unclip that portion and then clip it back up when it rains, because obviously if it rains it has to be closed. And then this is the throne room, and it's decently big enough for me to wheel in. It's curtains obviously, so it doesn't really matter how wide of a turning radius you have. You can just kind of move the curtains. I can get up to the toilet to transfer onto it just fine. This one is not a wheelchair height raised toilet, so you will have to transfer down a little bit. Sink is a sideways sink. You're gonna have to do stuff sideways, but overall pretty wheelchair friendly for somebody that, you know, is a manual wheelchair user, and decently strong enough to be able to get around. The kitchen is on a stone sort of like patio area, which is separated from this little wood partition. So just be careful. You have to lift your tires in order to get over that. Up a little ramp, and then they actually have fridges, 3 fridges that anybody can use to put food in, and anybody is welcome to cook out here, do dishes, all that kind of stuff. They have drinking water here and utensils, mugs, and all that stuff under here, which are all very wheelchair friendly. There is a stove here, which is a little high, but still doable, you know, if you wanted to cook something on it. Wheelchair friendly. I wouldn't necessarily call it wheelchair accessible fully, but it's a wheelchair friendly camping place to go. And if you're expecting, you know, refined and totally paved and all that stuff, this isn't the place for you. But if you're expecting a rustic, authentic, genuine feeling medieval village that is very wheelchair friendly, then this is the place to come. After we had a look around and got unpacked, we headed over to the lawn games to try out axe throwing. I won't be quitting my day job anytime soon to take up axe throwing because it was really hard. Jamie and I both managed to get 1 axe on the target before giving up and heading to try archery. Since no other guests had arrived yet, the owners gave us a private lesson, and it was really cool to learn archery from another wheelchair user. We used a recurve bow, and it was surprisingly simple once I got the hang of it. If anyone is interested in trying this type of archery, I'm using a 20-pound bow here, and it was relatively easy to pull back. I even got 2 bullseyes. Jamie and I spent the rest of the evening trying on costumes and deciding which ones to choose for all the activities the next day. I was worried that the costume selection would be very limited, but they have hundreds to choose from in every size imaginable. Every single guest dressed up, even the men, and it ended up being such a fun and unique part of the weekend. If you come and stay here, do not skip the dress up part. Good morning from 1350. Yesterday I was trying to figure out when medieval times actually were. And so I asked. It's like from, I don't know. What did she say, Jamie? 1350 to something? I don't know. 1350 to like 1500 or something like that. I'm just editing this video and I'm so wrong in this section. I promise I'm not a dumb person. I'm just not good at geography or ancient history, apparently. Medieval times is from 476 to around 1450, from the fall of the Roman Empire until, just before 1500. I'm terrible at history, so don't believe anything that I ever say on my YouTube channel if it involves history. But this morning we are going to transform into characters with our costumes on. We picked costumes yesterday and we're going to put them on. We will transform from, just regular old us to, I think we have wench costumes just because they were easier for my wheelchair. So I'll see you in a minute with the big reveal. All right, guys, here's the big reveal. This is me as a 1350 princess, would it be? Your turn, James. She's so excited. Oh, I have to put the camera up because it's cutting off your head. Hang on. Okay, do a spin. Very cute. I had a shorter outfit on, but it's actually kind of cold here today, so I put this one on that's like the evening gown or whatever. And we get to go do leatherworking classes today. We get to do sword fighting, and we get to do archery. And I kicked ass at archery yesterday and got 2 bullseyes, so I'm so excited to do it again today. And then we have the feast. So all of these activities are hosted by the owners of Good Nights, and they brought us breakfast this morning, cereal, muffins, coffee, tea, all kinds of stuff. And then we'll do the activities starting in about half an hour, and then we'll spend the day having some fun in the medieval times, and then we'll have a big feast. And I can't wait to take you guys along on this cool little wheelchair accessible adventure. Stay tuned for more. The first activity on the itinerary was sword fighting lessons, where we learned all about armor and the different aspects of battle during medieval times. We got to see and feel real swords and hold various pieces of armor that soldiers would have to wear, including chainmail, helmets, and gloves. After the presentation, we learned 6 different blocking stances using swords, and then we faced off with a partner. Next up was leather crafting. We got to pick either a bracelet or a bookmark to make, and surprise, surprise, both me and Jamie chose a bookmark. There were various stamps to choose from, and we learned that you have to wet the leather and then hammer your stamp into it, which makes a permanent indent in the shape of the stamp when the leather dries. Here are both of our finished bookmarks. Take a guess in the comments which is my bookmark and which is Jamie's. After a quick break for lunch, we headed to archery. We were paired with a family that had 2 boys, and one of the boys got a bullseye right out of the gate.
Like this?
Yeah, exactly like that. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God! He got a bullseye the first try! With no beginner's luck on my side today, my aim was not nearly as impressive. I hit the target most of the time, but didn't come close to a bullseye. Jamie kicked my butt. The final activity for the day was the big feast that we got to share with all the other guests that were staying in the encampment. We started with some bread and soup, and then we headed outside to learn some medieval dances. I didn't participate in the dancing because it was a lot of twirling and moving on the grass, and I knew that would be pretty difficult, so I sent Jamie off on her own to find a partner. She and another boy got paired up, and it was so cute watching them dance together. They both did really great. After the dancing, we had our final 2 courses of the meal, roast chicken with veggies and rhubarb crisp. It was delicious and so much fun. We spent the rest of the evening sitting by the campfire with some of the other guests in the encampment, getting to know each other and just enjoying the night before it was time to go in the morning. Good morning, guys. It is our very last day here at Good Nights, and we are just packing up to get ready to go and get checked out. Last night we had an amazing feast. The food was so good. They did all the dietary accommodations for all the guests that required it, gluten-free, dairy-free, all the things, all homemade food. And so crazy that one of the owners, who's also in a wheelchair, she made all the food for the entire guest list, and she did it all by herself in this tiny little kitchen. Just amazing hosts, amazing people that own this place. Just wanted to give you some of my final thoughts. It is a rustic, authentic medieval encampment, as well as a Hobbit Burrow, and they did a very good job of making it stay authentic to the times in terms of like what it might look like wood and all of the actual like authenticity that goes along with trying to make something historical, so historically accurate as best you can in modern times, while also caring about accessibility. Not everything's perfect, obviously, when you get out into the country and you're, camping or glamping. There's going to be things that are just not perfectly accessible. But I think it's the effort that counts, and anybody that's going to come is going to appreciate the atmosphere, the people, and just really the fun that you're having, the memories and stuff. And all the rest you can figure out when you're here. They have plenty of help. The owners are, used to disability, obviously, having a disability themselves. So, they'll help with anything you need. So all you have to do is ask. And yeah, it's a really great experience. I highly recommend it to anybody, able-bodied or not. Come out, make some memories with your family. I spent the last night here out at the communal fire. Didn't film any of it because it was pretty dark and, the camera wouldn't really work out there. With a group of people that were all staying in the other tents, and just had like a wonderful evening chatting and getting to know each other. And that's part of the allure of this place, is that you're not alone. You're doing all these activities with other families, and you're getting to know people and just making memories with your own family, as well as seeing other people have a great time. So yeah, final thoughts, great place to come visit. Wheelchair friendly. Overall rating about wheelchair accessibility, I'm going to give it like a 3.5 or 3.5 out of 5. So it's wheelchair friendly. I'm not going to say it's totally wheelchair accessible, but it's definitely wheelchair friendly. And if you have the willingness and open-mindedness and just desire to have fun in a rustic, authentic place, then this is the place for you. So thank you so much for Good Nights to inviting me to their facility and allowing me to do a review. And I hope that this allows more people to know that it's wheelchair accessible or wheelchair friendly, and that they can come make some memories with their family and not worry about, not being able to get to places like this that are otherwise normally not very wheelchair accessible. So thank you so much to Dan and Linda, who are the owners. I will put their contact information, the website, how to book, and all of that in the description below. And if you go and experience this place, please put in the comments what you thought about it, so that other people can see that it's wonderful. Yeah, and if you've been here already, also put that in the comments too, because I would love to hear from anybody who's already been here and what their experience was like. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you back here on another video. If you have any other places that you would like me to review or reach out to see if I can do a review, do that too. Put that in the comments as well. Catch you later, guys. Bye.